Bourbon Barrel Talk. I'm your host, Scott Minton. Today with us, we are sitting with Mr. John Rempe at Lux Row Distilleries. I'm sorry, Rempe, sorry.
Rempe, yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Correct.
Sorry about that. So also with us on the panel today, we got Mr. Matt Jasnoff, Dan Augustinho,
Hey.
and Jess, I forgot to get your last name.
It is Adkins, actually.
Jessica Adkins.
I go by Jess Ann, so.
Yeah, there you go.
Adkins is it.
So, well, John, first of all, thanks for having us out today, and we got to take a tour and do a small tasting, and really enjoyed it. If you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get here today?
Yeah, so I am the master distiller here. Originally, when we first started, it was head distiller, but recently moved title up to master distiller. But I've been in this industry for going on 23 years now. So started out back with the parent company, Lux Co. in St. Louis, back in 1998, and doing all of their research and development, working with our partner distilleries up in Canada, Mexico, Kentucky. And when we decided to build this distillery here in Kentucky, I went to the owners and the president, and I said that I wanted to be heavily involved in this. And fast forward several years, and I'm sitting here.
And now you live here.
Yep, live here right on the property too.
So we saw that, well, I did a little bit of research and saw that you started in the soft drink industry. Could you elaborate a little bit on, how does being a certified food scientist help with, what you're doing today?
I started out in the soft drink business. It was soft drinks and fruit juices, working as a microbiologist. Then switched over from that, got into R&D on those beverages, and working there for, I think, 5 or 6 years before I got recruited to come work for then the David Sherman Corporation, now Lux Co., and then now I'm at Lux Row Distillers.
So for listeners that may not be as familiar with, Lux Row's products, things like that, could you give us a brief synopsis of kind of what you guys have, what you offer through the distillery here? Yeah,
so right now at the distillery, our main brands are Rebel Yell, Ezra Brooks, David Nicholson, Blood Oath, and then our newest release that we just came out with this year. It's a brand that we've had, but we kind of revamped it. It's our Davis County line here. And then, we're obviously with our parent company back in St. Louis, we do, the whole line of all spirits, but coming out of Lux Row Distillers, it's those brands.
Gotcha. So with the variety that's offered, Lux Row, a great bourbon heritage. They bought some stuff from Stitzel-Weller, other companies to that nature. Could you tell us a little bit more about the David Nicholson, the 43 recipe, and what kind of went into that? And can you tell us a little bit more about the heritage that goes behind that?
Yeah, David Nicholson, it's actually a really interesting story. Kind of got to go back pre-Prohibition times where, distillers weren't selling packaged liquor. They were just selling barrels, and it would be store owners that would buy barrels and then bring it into the back of their store, and then they would, what we call rectifying. They would blend it, and sometimes, we didn't really know what they were blending it with, but one of those gentlemen that owned a store back, it was actually back in St. Louis, I believe. It was called David Nicholson, and that's where that brand actually started. And it has always been that wheated bourbon recipe from the old Stitzel-Weller distillery, and we've continued that on. So it's still that same wheated bourbon recipe. We've got the David Nicholson 100 proof wheated bourbon, and then we've also introduced several years ago our David Nicholson Reserve, which we actually use our traditional rye bourbon mash bill on that one.
Gotcha. So if you don't mind, can you tell the listeners out there what exactly is that mash bill on the traditional, the 1843, and then also, what you're doing today? Oh, yeah,
absolutely. Our wheated bourbon mash bill is 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malt. So it's got a decent amount of wheat in there, and what that wheat does is it kind of lets that sweetness of that corn come through without masking it like rye would in a traditional bourbon mash bill. That wheat gives it a little creaminess and a little bit more mouthfeel also. Our other mash bill is our traditional rye bourbon mash bill, and that's 78 corn, 10 rye, and 12 malt.
Gotcha. So I always talk about, favorite kids and favorite babies. So you got old Ezra, the David Nicholson, the Rebel Yell. Do you have a favorite baby?
I mean, I really don't. they're all really pretty special.
They're not all listening. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, really, to be honest, I mean, Blood Oath is really that's my signature brand. That's the one that I get to have the most fun with, blending the bourbons together and experimenting with the different finishes like the port or the Cabernet or French oak or whatever, toasted oak in the Blood Oath. But that one probably would be my favorite if I had to pick one.
Yeah. Can you go into the Blood Oath series? Because, when I first started, Pact 1 was out there. No one really knew about it, so I bought it on a whim. And, I mean, my wallet was mad at me 6 bottles later. But kind of go into, your creativeness for it, because you do so many unique finishes for it. They're all so different.
Yeah, and that's been my goal the whole time. When we decided to create a new brand for us, I really didn't want to just go out and find some old whiskey and put it in a bottle and put an expensive price tag on it. I mean, it's boring, and it's easy, and it's not exciting. And I wanted to really do something for people that really know bourbon and know stuff about bourbon, the bourbon connoisseur. And I wanted to create more of an experience than just buying a bottle. So that's what I think I've done with Blood Oath is that every year I come out with a new release and a new finish, and I always try to find something that is a little bit different. And the way I blend together, I always use 3 different Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys, and they're all older bourbons. There's no young whiskeys in any of these. I think that the one coming out next year, the youngest one's going to be 9 years old. The oldest is going to be 15. But what I do is when I'm blending, in order to get the right profile, I only finish the one of those whiskeys in that different commodity barrel, whether it's port or Cabernet or next year I can't really say yet what next year's is going to be.
But tell us.
I can't tell you. It's a secret.
He can do it.
If people could find out if they wanted to, they know how to. But my marketing department, they would kill me if I started.
Just sign it to us. Just use some sign language.
Exactly. But I only finish one of those whiskeys, and then when that's done, when I think that one is done, then I'll just blend in just the right amount to where it's just a hint of that character and just the right amount that I want. So you're not killing the bourbon character. You still know you're drinking bourbon, but you know that there's just a little bit of something extra added into it. There's a lot of finished whiskeys out there that I think they're way overdone. I know people, I've talked to other guys, and they finish sometimes over 2 years they're finishing into a different barrel.
Too long.
I mean, 6 months is well. I mean that's well enough,
right?
In that barrel, it's aged enough. But like I said, I just want a hint of that different character in there.
Yeah,
David, in that blending process, do you try it in different barrels with different finishes, or do you just decide on one barrel and one finish?
No, I'm constantly finishing whiskey in different barrels and letting it age. And doing small experiments on a small scale, and then when I do find one that I like that works, then I scale it up. It's constant. I'm constantly playing around, to be honest.
Could be a rough day at the office for you.
So if we were to see John here in 2 months in the nice early fall and sitting around a fire pit with a cigar in your hand, what would be the bourbon that would be in your glass?
I mean, it could be anything on any different on any given day, really.
All right,
but,
so it's a Tuesday night. Yeah, it's cloudy.
On a Tuesday. Tuesday night. Tuesday night. That's the Lux Row 12 year. Yeah.
So you really are just all over the framework there as far as what you like. So
yep.
And if I need to cut it out, I can. And if you don't want to answer it, you can. So is there anything outside of the family that is a favorite of yours?
Outside of the Lux Row family, to be honest, the other, it's actually not even a bourbon. It's a rye whiskey, but it's Limestone Branch. It's minor case that's finished in sherry barrels.
Yeah,
and I'm good friends with Steve Beam that did that, and he did an outstanding job. And it's outstanding.
When it's good, it's good.
No, I 100% agree with you. That Limestone Branch is a good quality product.
Yeah, I thought Lux Row isn't a good quality.
No, absolutely. No, Lux Row's great. I love that rye. I mean, no. Absolutely.
That's not really outside of the family. You cheated.
Well,
there.
it's outside of the immediate.
Everyone's family. Hey, everyone's family here.
Everybody's
Yeah.
family in Bardstown.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but don't they have like?
Legitimate family?
Yeah, don't they own Limestone Branch, Luxco?
Well, yeah, but it's kind of like not immediate family.
Yeah.
It's like stepchildren.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a half brother.
I have to like you because mom said so.
and because Limestone Branch is delicious.
No, absolutely. So, is there a go-to cocktail that you like to make, like Manhattan or anything like that?
A Manhattan is always great, but I'm actually really drinking when it gets cold in the winter. I like a good Kentucky Mule. Yeah, I love ginger beer and bourbon and ginger beer with a little bit of lime. It's delicious.
Helps you sleep at night a little
Yeah.
bit. On
Yeah,
Tuesdays,
yeah,
right on
that's-
Tuesdays.
Yeah, exactly.
So last year, Bundaberg came out with a spiced Christmas ginger beer, and oh my God, it mixed with bourbon is
really?
It's like one of the best
I'll have
drinks
to
ever.
try that.
during the Christmas season.
Yeah.
I get super excited when that comes out. So it's
We're not
pretty
far
good
from
stuff.
Christmas at this point.
We are not. We're really not.
What is anything anymore at this
Well, it
point?
doesn't matter. We can,
What is Christmas going to look
we
like
can drink
this year?
Christmas in October. No one knows.
October. This is August. Come on.
I know. I
It's
mean,
close enough at this
Yeah.
point.
yesterday it was March.
There you go.
So how often do we find bourbon cream in your coffee?
Here's the thing. I don't drink coffee.
No, well,
How often do we just find
yeah.
bourbon cream?
I was just gonna say just bourbon cream in this cup.
We have bourbon cream here at the distillery.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really good. I love the Ezra Brooks
yeah.
bourbon cream. So
Yeah.
that's why I was just kind of curious.
Yeah,
you know,
but I love it.
What are you drinking with?
Bourbon cream over ice cream is actually really good. And bourbon cream just cold straight on ice is awesome. And yeah, that's another one that I developed that when I was back in St. Louis. So and it actually uses real bourbon. It's not. I think it's right now. It's got 4-year bourbon in it and real bourbon cream. Some of them have like an artificial creamer in it, but it's real dairy cream, and it's pretty good.
That's awesome.
So how many days does it last once you open it?
It's actually fairly shelf stable too, but I always recommend as soon as you open it, put it in the fridge.
Refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be served cold.
Yeah, I always recommend once you open it, drink it.
All
Top
of
to
it.
bottom.
All
Be
of
done.
it.
Yeah.
A
It
whole
doesn't.
bottle.
Yeah, it doesn't drink itself.
Why wait, right?
Right,
Absolutely.
exactly.
It does not drink itself. So Lux Row is part of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? Like which part of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail? Are you one of the craft trails, things like
No,
that? So
yeah,
if people
no,
want to come visit you.
Yeah, we're on just the regular bourbon trail, not craft. We're a lot larger. I guess there's a liquid quantity or a production quantity amount, but we're way over that limit. So we're on the regular bourbon trail, and I think we have been since we opened in April for our grand opening on April 11th in 2018, and it's been great, and we love being on the trail. And we're starting to get a lot more people coming out right now. We hate it when we had to shut down back in March, but we're open back up now, and we love to see everybody out here. It was boring. It's boring as hell.
So tell me what it's like to work with or work for a company that's family owned and operated. There's a lot of that goes into those type of organizations, I feel like, and tell me a little bit more about what that's like, and then how did you get here? As far as that piece of it, did you know the family directly, or is it just something that you kind of fell into, or how did that work?
Yeah, it's the Lux family. Don Lux, he's the owner. Working for that family, and I've been here for 22 years, so that has to say something right there. It's an incredible family. They really, really.
It's not me.
Got a little
like
construction
NASCAR.
going
A
on.
little construction going on.
Car
That was a
racing.
little bit louder. But yeah, the Lux family, they're an incredible family to work for. I consider myself part of the family, and they've said that to me also. Wouldn't want to work anywhere else, and like I said, I've been here for 22 years, and that's gotta say something right
That's
there.
awesome.
Yeah, that's terrific. I don't think I've worked anywhere longer than 15 years, so I guess
You've worked places only for 15 minutes. I mean, come on.
That's probably true too, Dan. That's probably true. So, what's up next for Lux Row Distillers? Can we expect to see a new product or some new bourbons or just anything new in the near future that you're allowed to talk about?
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or if you give me a drill, I can figure it out for myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As far as new products, I mean, really, it's just the one that we just came out with this spring, which is our Davis County line with the Cabernet Sauvignon finish, the French oak finish, and then just the regular blend of the two mash bills. And they're all three a blend of both of our wheated and our rye bourbon mash bills. But coming up, this whole distillery, when we built it, it was built with expansion in mind. And next year, we're looking to expand our fermentation capabilities so we can get more barrels out per day. And then 2022, most likely we'll be dropping in another still to just keep further expanding, because we knew we were going to have to expand. We wanted to come in and get established here and get our process down, and then expand. And then so we're looking to do that coming up in the next couple of years.
That's awesome.
So Casey mentioned that you were running about 54 barrels a day or 70 barrels a day.
Yeah,
think
it's
it was
about
70.
about 69, 70 barrels a day.
69 or 70 barrels a day. What do you think the capacity will be at the point once you do the expansion? And then, what will that create a year as far as the number of barrels or gallons that you'll be producing?
Well, right now we're doing about 70 barrels a day, and that's a little over 20,000 barrels a year. So when we get our new fermentation and drop in another still, we're looking at probably doing about 50,000 barrels a year instead of 20.
Yeah.
That's insane when you really think about the amount of bourbon that you're going to be creating
Right.
every single year.
It's not to mention how insane it is for how short a period of time that this facility has been operating. It's not like it's a Maker's Mark or an Evan Williams or anything like that. I mean, this is young in compared to what you find in the bourbon industry, especially in Kentucky.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So how has the single barrel selection process and the hotness of that market and where that's kind of grown over the last 3 to 5 years, how has that changed how you're distilling, and then also how you guys are going to release products here in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really changed anything in how we're distilling at all. We're still doing just our two mash bills here. Obviously, looking at inventory and quantities needed down the road because of this barrel program, and we've had outstanding response from our barrel program. We just started it this January, and right now we're booked all the way through the end of the year. Not taking any more reservations at all for barrel picks. It's been an incredible response, and I can't wait till next year. We're actually looking to maybe tweak it a little bit and maybe offer a little something more. Right now we're doing a single barrel for Ezra and Rebel, but I always like being creative. And like I said, I was director of research and development for decades, really before I came here. So I always like to be able to be a little more creative. So I think there's going to be something that I might be able to try to offer in addition to just straight single barrels.
Right. So do you anticipate possibly like maybe the Rebel Yell 10 or some of those being
It
single
won't be
barrel
10.
selects?
Yeah,
or
it won't be the 10 year. That's we just don't have the barrels.
Old
for
Ezra
that.
7.
Yeah, it might be a little bit older whiskey, or it might be just some options on maybe some finishes also.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of like the avenue that I kind of want to try to go down.
So that kind of led me right into my next question as far as so one of the new hot things are toasted barrels. Elijah Craig's got theirs. Michter's is famous for it. Down Home's a new distillery that just came out. Tell us a little bit, is that something that we might see in the near future from you guys as far as toasted barrels?
Yeah, that's actually funny you said it, because I just a few months ago, what I do here is like I said, the two mash bills that we're running here, it's 10 months out of the year it's our rye bourbon mash bill, 2 months out of the year it's our wheated bourbon mash bill. I just got done putting up about 500 barrels of a different char level and actually toasted, whereas right now our barrels are all just char 3, no toast. So I actually had ISC make me some special barrels, and I'm getting ready to do another run here right at the beginning of September, and then starting in January I'm doing another one. But those are all barrels that I'm experimenting with different toast levels also.
That's awesome.
Interesting for sure. That's one of my favorite things. I love a toasted, just something about the marshmallow and the
absolutely.
caramel and the sweet flavors you get from those toasted barrels.
Like when I used that toasted barrel for Blood Oath Peck 4, that was
It was tasty.
that one. I mean, that's what I had people saying. They said it was like a toasted marshmallow. That's what it tasted like.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, absolutely. So when will we be able to come out and do a pick? The Bourbon Barrel Talk group. We like to do lots of charity picks and things like that, and do a little good in the hood, as we like to say.
You're not paying attention. It's January on. Not this year.
Dan, you're
We're booked to the end of the year.
You're blocking our conversation here. So how fast did those book up? I mean,
Within weeks, really. I mean, once our sales staff got out there and worked with the distributors, they were booked very, very quickly.
Right. So what's your favorite part about that experience? Being able to bring people in, try the barrels, things like that.
That's it. Just being able to interact with the people. That's really one of the best parts of this job, is being able to come downstairs and get out of the office or get out of the distillery for a little bit and actually talk with customers.
Right. So how many guys do you have working under you right now, when in the distilling department or a group or that type of thing?
As a total, the distillery, we employ about 30 people right now. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot. I always tell people, whenever they ask me that question and I say, 28, 30 people, they look at me like, are you serious, for, the size of this place and how many barrels we're putting out? But, I always say it took hundreds, to build this place, but we could run it with a handful.
Right.
Back in the distilling area, I mean, to be honest, I could, aside from maintenance, which, obviously you need, but we could run that place with maybe 4 or 5 people if we needed to.
Right.
So, but right now it's about 15 to 20 guys.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about, and I know we're coming up on time, so I'm trying to be respectful of your time. If you could tell us a little bit more about any of the, insight behind, the land and the corn. And I know that right now you guys she mentioned the fact that y'all had 10 acres of your own corn that y'all were doing.
Yep.
Where's some of your product coming from? Are you guys mainly getting from Kentucky, Indiana, a mixture of both?
Our corn is Kentucky, and we try to source it, as much as possible from local sources. Obviously, our rye and wheat and malt, we would love to be able to get a lot of that from here, which when we try to, but it's just the climate down here isn't really conducive to growing really good grains, those grains. So we have to go elsewhere for those. Right. But as far as corn, we try to get that as local as possible.
Gotcha.
And like you were saying, I got that 10 acres. I've normally just farmed those fields for hay here, just to have something growing on them. But this year I wanted to grow 10 acres of corn, and what I'm going to do is harvest that this fall, and we're going to get that in here, ground up, making some whiskey here with a new mash bill. That I'm going to do a special estate release for that.
Did you say that you farmed in your free time? You're just like doing hay and doing whatever?
I don't personally do it. I have a guy do it.
But you decide what you want? You're like...
Yeah.
He's got a guy.
Do you leave? Do you ever leave? What are you doing?
No, I leave sometimes.
Where do you go? Into the Walmart in Bardstown?
Yeah, the Walmart mall in Bardstown.
The gas station?
Gas station.
Yep.
To Bardstown Bourbon and eat dinner?
There's probably a bar here locally that John wants to.
It's called his house. It's called the Rick House.
Yeah.
It's called the Rick House.
Yeah.
That would be where I would spend a lot of my time. I gotta be honest with you.
You want to come over for a drink? We're going to drill today.
How often do you drink tequila?
Drink tequila? I actually did have just a little bit over the weekend, but we've got it's that El Mayor and Exotico
that one
tequila.
Mexican
They're
restaurant.
Awesome. Yep.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite tequila?
El Mayor,
Okay.
Reposado.
All right.
Yep.
I might not have heard that.
Yeah.
Because he
yeah.
You
said
went to
he
the
was in
side.
the tequila business for a
Right.
while.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So,
Are they at least building something cool down there that they're drilling?
They're just drilling through the wall, actually, because with the new
They really
HVAC
are coming through the wall.
Yeah, I was actually downstairs. I thought they were downstairs, and I was crawling through the crawl space, which I really don't like doing in a 200-year-old home, but they weren't down there. They were outside drilling through the wall.
That's what you were just doing? You were crawling through the crawl space? You're my hero.
Yell at them through the crawl space.
Yeah.
Freak them out a little bit.
Right.
like, what are you? What happened here?
Yeah.
All right, well,
So good deal. So yeah, we want to be respectful of your time because you got to get ready to get going. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit more as far as like if people want to come out, visit, do a tour, If they want to find Lux Row, how do we do that? Facebook, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, luxrowdistillers.com, that would be the perfect place to go to. You can book your tour on there. I highly suggest that you, if you're planning on coming out, to go on there, book your tour online, because they fill up, and with the new regulations that we have to abide by right now, we've got a limited amount of spaces on our tours and in our tasting. So go online, book your tour online, and then you come on out and enjoy a tour and some bourbon with us.
Good deal, good deal. Yeah, I will say I had a great time with Casey. So if you can pick somebody, pick Casey, because
She's wonderful.
She's awesome.
Casey did a
Yep.
fantastic
Yep.
job. I don't know who else does tours, but Casey did a great job with us. So I'm going to recommend that if you come out here and if you can pick a tour guide, grab Miss Casey, because she was excellent. So this is Scott Minton at Bourbon Barrel Talk. If you want to find us, you can reach us at bourbonbarreltalk.com, or you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Scott Minton, Matt Jasnoff, Dan, Jess, and then Mr. John Rempe. We are signing off at Bourbon Barrel Talk. Have a good day.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.